After years of resistance, Netflix is taking the plunge. It's adding commercials. They're teaming up with Microsoft to help create an ad-supported tier on the platform. That gives customers the option for a low-cost plan. Now, it comes as Netflix continues to struggle with subscriber growth. They're expected to announce a loss of 2 million users in their second quarter earnings report next week. The shares are down 71% for the year. So will ads help turn the business around? Let's bring in Mark Douglas. He is CEO of Mountain. Mark, it's great to have you here. Can I just start with why Microsoft?
Well, I think Brad Smith, the president of Microsoft, is on the board of directors of Netflix. So I think that's like, in retrospect, kind of obvious. So that is obviously relationships matter, and that's a deep relationship. I think also Microsoft brings deep pockets. They have no competitive business with Netflix. So with the synergy on the people side and the lack of conflicts, which everyone else in the industry somewhat has with Netflix, that's the starting point for a deal.
But forgive me for asking, I don't think of Microsoft as a big ad platform. What am I missing? What have they been up to?
Well, one thing to remember is they own LinkedIn, and LinkedIn actually has a pretty sizable ad business. So I wouldn't say they have no ad business. They definitely don't have a television ad business. So, but so that's a real starting point for both companies, and they're in it together now. I mean, this is an advertising road trip, I guess you could call it, and they're going out on this journey together.
What is the Mark Douglas take on all of this? I mean, I can totally see why people are saying, listen, Netflix, you have to have basically a $5 a month offering because you're just getting too expensive and there's too many other options out there. But commercials, I don't know. What do you think about this move in general?
Well, there's a lot of risk in this in the sense of that Netflix has really no clue how many of their users are going to elect for an ad-supported plan. And at a cheaper price point, I think they have to be prepared to really, invest in this. And again, having a partner like Microsoft makes a lot of sense in terms of being able to weather that. But I think also, Netflix accounts for a pretty significant percentage of television viewing. And so all that inventory is entering the market, and it's great for Netflix. I think over time, advertising can account for a pretty sizable percentage of their business, and some people think it could wind up being as big as their current business, depending on how aggressively they go after it.
Because it's Netflix and with the Microsoft angle, do you expect them to bring some kind of fresh approach to how they do advertising, or should this look and feel pretty conventional?
Well, I think one thing that's interesting about Netflix, they have no legacy ad business. So, for example, their ads don't have to be 30 seconds. I mean, they can usually when you bring new ad platforms in the market, you also bring new ad formats. So this may not be your traditional TV ad, or, if you think of social platforms, they have different sizes, they have different lengths. So I think there's room for a lot of creativity here, and I think advertisers will probably be very intrigued by that if that's what they do, and potentially respond very well to it.
Would YouTube be an example of that? They've had to pioneer a lot of different ad formats.
They have, but in the case of YouTube, it's short-form video. You don't want to watch a 30-second ad for a 60-second video. Netflix is episodic programming. You are really committing to watching the show, and so that kind of commitment is what keeps the entertainment consumer, kind of glued to the screen. So I think the formats can be different. I doubt there'll be something like pre-roll. I think it will be like in the show, but it again doesn't have to be your traditional 30-second TV ad.
And does the whole thing make you feel more bullish or more bearish on Netflix?
I think bullish in the sense that this can generate a lot of revenue for Netflix and obviously Microsoft. But I think in the near term, there's a bit of risk. So as an investor, if you're thinking long term, great. I think it's a great opportunity. If you're thinking very near term, you're probably a little skittish because there's definitely some unknowns.